Hello, everybody. I'm Michael Monaco.
And I'm Bobby Salveson, and we are the Hazmat Guys, bringing you the knowledge and insight to make your job a little bit easier.
Before we get into the show, let's thank today's sponsors.
The Hazmat Guys would like to thank our sponsor, Rigaku Analytical Devices. Rigaku Analytical Devices reduce fluorescence interference when identifying unknown chemicals using the 1064 advantage of the Progeny Rescue. Visit rigakuanalytical.com to learn more.
HazSim training systems have been in use across North America since 2011. Hazmat teams, firefighters, confined space specialists, and industrial safety trainers alike have found the value in the HazSim Pro system. HazSim brings real information-based decision-making to students from instructors safely and realistically. No more burning up sensors or pretending a 3x5 card is a meter in training. Visit hazsim.com for realistic training solutions.
Welcome back, everybody. This is episode 84. Today we're going to be talking about the incredible MC331, also known as the compressed gas cargo tanker.
In an overview format. Just to get a couple of things out of the way, we're very excited to announce a brand new show called Ask the Hazmat Guys.
Yeah, this is kind of a way to communicate back and forth with the audience. Basically, what we're asking you to do is to send us emails with questions on them of any topic related to hazmat that you have a question about. If we don't know the answer, which we probably won't, we are going to find the experts in that field who do know the answer and then report back to you on the show.
Right, and with that, subscribe.
Absolutely.
That's the most important thing.
Yeah.
You got to subscribe.
You don't have to submit questions. You don't have to listen to the show.
Yeah.
But you have to subscribe.
And download. Because that's important. Right. You know what? Don't even donate to us anymore. We appreciate all the people that have in the past. We will continue. We're in the process of updating our website and everything like that. But go and visit the sponsors. These are the guys that are helping us offset the cost of making one of these shows. And it's a lot of time, a lot of effort, and it costs money. And these guys are helping to offset this to keep it free for you guys to listen to.
And we're just not letting anybody come on and sponsor the show. You'll never get like a Twix commercial, which are extremely delicious, by the way, left or right. But there are going to be people that are within our community that we have vetted, and we feel that their product is worthy to present to the community.
Right. As far as where we're going to be, as the day you're listening to this, we will be wheels down in Baltimore at the International Association of Fire Chiefs Hazmat Conference, live on scene.
Yes. So if you're not listening to this Friday, you will not be able to see us down there and have a beer with us.
Right. And we will be, I think, at Friday night, 7:30, Peter's Poorhouse in Baltimore. Get in touch with us, and we will get that together with you guys. But let's get into this episode. We are going to get back out onto the highways and the byways and take a closer look at the MC331 propane tanker.
And believe it or not, you know, we categorize these as, oh, that's an MC331. But in reality, there's a whole bunch of different types of tankers out there. And they differ based upon what it is that they're going to hold. Generally speaking, the MC331 is going to be your compressed liquefied gas tanker carrying things like LPG or anhydrous ammonia. All right, but it's really important to remember that each one of those vessels or tanks, they have been designed to meet the specifications or the chemical and physical properties of the product that they're carrying.
Right, and the specifications are all detailed in one of my favorite documents, because I'm a nerd, is 49 CFR. 49 CFR is the DOT Code of Federal Regulations. And if you are so inclined to read the lawyerese and the metallurgy, then by all means go ahead. But to keep things basic, we're just going to talk about the common MC331 LPG tanker so you can paint a pretty picture in your head. Now, there's one thing I'd like to mention in this thing, and some of the people, the more savvy, will hear, is that this is an MC,
so what does
not
that mean?
A DOT.
Oh.
So, and I'm pretty sure we're going to talk about this in the future, but this was such a stout tank when they did the revamp that they said, you know what, leave it alone.
It does. We've made perfection right off the bat.
Well, let's not get crazy.
You remember the movie Airplane, Bob?
Yes.
You remember when little Johnny pointed at one of these and said, look, it looks like a great big Tylenol?
Yes, I do.
Well, God damn it, he was right. All right? If you take a look at one of these MC331s, like the propane tanker, it's going to be tubular in shape, and it's going to have those classic round cross sections at the end. All right, and it's very spherical. If you were to imagine to cut a ball in half and stick it on the end, it's actually a Tylenol pill he's exactly right. It's exactly what it looks like.
And they are single compartment, right? So we're used to in our gasoline tankers and any of those bulk liquids, they usually have some baffles or even walls that will limit the amount of liquid that moves around. Now, these tanks are also steel most of the time, and they usually have a single manway near the top at one end of the tank. And it's usually, you'll notice it'll be like a flange disc with a bunch of bolts around it.
Now, another distinction on these tanks is kind of the paint or the color scheme that's associated with them. All right, the lower 1/3 of the tank can be painted however the owner chooses. All right, but here's the important part: the upper 2/3 is required to be painted white or some kind of a reflective color. It can be shiny aluminum as well, but it just needs to be able to reflect that sunlight and that heat so that the heat isn't being absorbed into the liquid.
I didn't know it could be aluminum.
Yeah, shiny.
I didn't know that.
Shiny
Well, that makes sense. Unlike other trailers like the MC, well, it's actually the DOT 406 and the DOT 407. The larger MC 331 has no frame, right? The tank itself is so sturdy that itself is the structure.
Yeah, this is incredible, like to actually sit and think about. That means that the kingpin assembly, the suspensions, the axles, the liquid pump, and all the plumbing, all of that stuff is attached to the tank. All right, even in smaller bobtails. All right, it's mounted directly to the chassis of the truck.
Now, we've mentioned this in many of the things before, but there are smaller bobtail type delivery trucks, which is they're like the MC331s, and technically, I guess they are. They're just mini versions of it that hold as little as 800 gallons of product. And the bigger brothers, the ones that I think of in my head, are trucks that that are actually trailers that can hold as much as 11,500 gallons of the product.
So where would we see like the little ones versus the big ones?
Mostly just resident. When you're dropping to a multitude of residentials, you're going to see the small ones because the streets are tighter, shorter turning radius, et cetera, et cetera. When you have major, I guess, loads to put wherever you got to put, you're going to have some more access, and therefore you would go with the tractor-trailer type operation.
So really the size then just depends on what its function is, because if you think about it,
right,
whether it's a small barbecue propane tank or a small bobtail or one of these massive 1150-gallon tractor trailers, the chemical physical properties of the materials they're holding inside of it, they don't change.
Right.
All right, so the pressures should all be relatively equivalent. It's the amount of product that's there that changes, and for that reason, all right, the what is it, ASME, the Association of Society of Mechanical Engineers?
That's the one.
All right, they have to certify every single one of these tanks, and they have to have a maximum allowable working pressure. That's the MAWP, that kind of abbreviation, somewhere between 100 psig and 500 psig. All right, our LPG tanker, essentially the liquid, we call it liquefied propane, liquefied petroleum, however you want to say it. All right, it's normally somewhere hovers around 250 to 265 psig.
I just want to make sure everybody understands that, because the pressures in these mega tanks are the exact same pressures as the 20-pound propane cylinder you have in the backyard.
Right, so then the difference between that would just be?
Volume.
That's it.
Just the volume of liquid. Let's talk about the basic features. Regardless of the size or the capacity of the tank, there are some parts and pieces that you're going to always find.
So just like on our smaller barbecue tanks, they're going to have a pressure relief device, all right? And they can be either called one of two things. You can have a pressure relief device, or you can have a safety relief valve. Either way is a proper way of saying it. Now, just like that little barbecue at home, the whole purpose of this pressure relief device is to prevent the tank from over-pressurizing and or in extreme situations, blevying. Mm-hmm. All right, so for these tanks, there are some specific requirements, just like in your barbecue tank.
We have a spring-loaded valve, right? So when the pressure releases, and it drops below the whatever the spring is set to, it will self-close again.
Bob, on that barbecue tank, where is that spring-loaded device in relation to the entire tank?
I can't tell you. It's classified. No, I can tell you. It is actually in the valve assembly.
Okay.
And it is a spring load that's inside the valve body.
So it's up high.
Up high.
Why do you think it's up high?
So, you know what? I don't know, but I'm going to take a couple of guesses.
Okay, go for it.
If it's coming out of the pressure relief device, it's overpressurized, so therefore there's a higher pressure in the cylinder. If it's giving off straight gas, the gas is going to be cold, which will wash down over the tank and make it cooler, reducing the pressure. If it's flames, then it's up and away from the valve. No, maybe I'm wrong. I should know this.
You're pretty much right on.
I would say that way it's not going to impinge on, it's going to try to get it away from the tank as fast as possible, thereby reducing the heating and increasing the boiling.
Right, and then you have the third reason, which is the safety of the liquid becoming a gas, in that if you have it in the vapor space, right, then only gas is coming out. You don't have to worry about having 270 times more product coming out when it tries to relieve the pressure. So for this reason, all of these pressure relief devices, they have to be located somewhere in the vapor space.
I'm just letting everybody know this, full disclosure. It says in there, act like an idiot on the script here. I knew that. It also must be completely unobstructed. That makes sense.
Tearing down our fourth wall.
That's the fourth wall. I just tore down the fourth wall.
All right. It must discharge directly upward and away from the tank itself. And this goes into what Bobby said before, is that when it comes out or when it's on fire, you don't want those flames to be now wrapping around the tank. You want them to be as far away from the tank as possible. So it's got to be up and away.
And it also must be set to open at no more than 110% of the tank's design pressure.
Okay, now it must also be able to keep the tank from exceeding 120% of the design pressure. So this essentially will guarantee that the tank can't levy from excessive pressure. Now, when a tank levies because there's fire on it, it means that the steel has been weakened to the point that it is no longer at 120% of its designed pressure. All right, so just because you have a fire impinging on a tank and it's got a pressure relief device going on, that assumes the tank is in perfect condition. Once you have fire impeding on it, you're weakening the tank. Does that make sense?
Yeah, actually it does. Another thing is recessed and skid protected gauge wells. All right, so remember, this is the big Tylenol pill that's running down the street. This is going to have gauges. It's going to have temperature gauges. It's going to have, well, you know what? They can have anything they want. Whoever buys it specs out what they want. But what we're saying here is that they're going to be reinforced and recessed along the sides of the ends of the tank, and they hold, whatever the pressure, temperature, liquid level, they're all going to be in there, and they're going to be not proud of the tank. They'll be recessed so that even if the thing dumps over and starts scraping along the ground, these gauges won't come off. And a run we just had today, the sight glass broke and let out 1,400 pounds of Freon.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a story for another day.
Yeah. Oh, a little teaser.
Ooh.
All right, and now, very similar to what Bobby just said, the pipe system can be put on however the owner specs it out to be. They can come down, they can go to the left, to the right, to the back, to the front, however they want to be. All right, but either way, they're going to be directly mounted to the belly of these larger tanks, and they're going to be surrounded by kind of like a protective cage to keep idiots from driving into them.
Now remember, we said that the front and the back of these tanks are usually round, spherical. However, I have seen with my own two eyes bobtails that had a round front and a square back. And at first you say, well, why is there a square back? Bobby just told me, and round means high pressure. What they did was they actually kind of sleeved off the back and made a doghouse off the back, like a cryo tank. And what they have in there is the pump and all the hoses and all the mechanical stuff so that the guy can stay out of the rain. And it's also protected, all this valving that's in the back, by a rear bumper and a vehicle frame.
And the emergency shutoff the remote emergency shutoffs are going to be back there. One of them anyway. The other one is going to be located up by the cab.
Right, and these mechanical, actually they can be mechanically done or thermally activated. Mechanically can actually be via like a bicycle cable or pneumatical. I don't know, depending on how big the rig is. Sometimes they're pneumatic or they're mechanical, or even thermally activated if it gets too hot. On tanks less than 3,500 gallons, only one remote is needed.
And just the opposite, if we go more than 3,500 gallons, then there will be two. And they should not only be two, but they need to be diagonally across from each other. So you're going to have one on that, 15 feet back from the driver's side door. 15 feet back from the driver on his side. And then you'll have another one basically on the passenger side all the way in the back of the rig.
All right, guys, let's take a minute to hear about today's sponsor. Attention Hazmat Nation, class is in session. FLIR, a global leader in CBRNE detection solutions, has recently announced a new educational resource named FLIR Primed. Primed is a free online tool that provides first responders with training videos, best practices, field checklists, and street truth. Throughout the initial 10-episode video series, Grant Coffey, a retired fire and rescue hazmat team coordinator and CBRNE expert of nearly 40 years, delivers industry insights and real-life experiences that keep first responders prepared. In addition, each episode concludes with a free field checklist or downloadable guide that responders can use immediately, like the Prime training poster that covers these key actions of prepare, recognize, input, monitor, experience, and decision. You can watch it now by visiting www.flir.com/primed.
Okay, let's pick up where we left off.
All right, let's go a little further into the piping and valving features. All the piping connections must be permanently marked to indicate whether they communicate with the liquid or vapor space when the tank is full. Now, there are times when these tanks flip over and therefore the liquid becomes vapor and vapor becomes liquid. But when it's normal operation, when it's wheels down, that's how they're supposed to be marked. And you should find what kind of connections, Mike?
All right, well, one of the first connections you're going to find is the liquid fill line. All right, and it's going to be connected to something called a spray bar inside of this tank. This connection could be labeled as either liquid or spray fill. All right, and this pipe will have most likely a 1/4 inch turn ball valve or a gated valve.
Quarter turn valve.
A quarter turn valve.
Not
What did
inch.
I say?
Inch.
Did I say
Quarter
inch?
inch.
Quarter
That's
inch.
a small valve.
That's a tiny little valve.
It's going to take forever.
Why is this taking so long? As well as an inlet backflow preventer or a check valve.
Right. And now, the way... See, I never really understood the spray bar, but what happens is when the spray bar is shooting droplet-sized propane inside the tank, it's making it a lot colder, therefore allowing it to pack quicker.
Why would it colder allow it to pack quicker?
Because it's more condensed. And they can hit that 80% outage quickly. That's, that's more than we have to go into outages. We'll have to do that in another show.
I tell you what, if somebody has a question about that may be a question they should email to us.
Ooh. Nice.
Ask the Hazmat Guys.
Ask at thehazmatguys.com.
Ask at the Hazmat Guys.
Come on, you're better than that.
I am.
That's why we can have nice
not.
things.
I'm not. I'm really not.
All right, liquid discharge lines used to offload the liquid propane. So this is really how they do it. They use it through a pump. People go, holy cow, a pump. This is a PTO-driven pump, hydraulically driven pump, whatever it might be, and it will move the liquid through. It is rated for the flammable liquid that's going through it. Also in line is the pipe that is called an excess flow valve. So what happens is, let's say we have a shear in the line, or let's say we have a shear in the line.
Okay.
When it goes past a certain gallons per minute flow, this little ball that floats normally will be sucked down and close off the opening. Okay, and that's how we do it. So let's say you're offloading or sometimes pumping things. You'll get that happening. Well, it happens a lot.
It does.
Because, what, and the hard thing is that you don't know where that limit is. So you kind of got to go up until you hit it, and then kind of go, all right, back it down, and then go back up a little less, and figure out where it is. It only allows liquid to flow up to a certain rate. And if there's a surge and overpressurization, discharge, the valve automatically closes and stops the movement of product. And this will also have a manual 1/4-inch turn bell, turn gate. No, I have a quarter turn.
Quarter turn. Now you said quarter inch.
Yeah, no, I'm joking.
All right. The next thing that we're going to see is a vapor equalization line. This is going to be connected directly to the vapor space, and very similar to our DOT 406, 407, it's there to allow equalization within the vapors, all right? It's also going to perform another function,
Right.
Which is to, not that it's going to perform another function, it's also going to have a ball valve or a gate valve on it.
Right. So you got to remember, whenever you take liquid out of a tank, a closed vessel, even if it's under pressure, you have to replace the top, or else it's going to boil, and they don't want that because boiling means less movement. So what they do is they put the pressure, back in the top, and that keeps everything nice and cool. Everything, it likes being cool, like Julius, right? So another feature is that is common to the piping is that there has internal self-closing stop valves, and these valves are in line with each pipe, recessed into the tank, and they are internal and cannot be seen from the outside of the tank. They're designed to really close off the connections in the case that the piping is sheared off for some reason, whatever it might be, grandma goes under a thing, or that other means to stop the flow of product have failed. They're activated in one of two ways.
Right, so this is going to be where we talked about the emergency shutoffs, the remote ones, where you could either have one or two, and what Bob was talking about before with the pressure differential.
Right. So another thing is the hydrostatic relief valves, and these are found in the liquid lines again. They protect the piping, the equipment from pressures of liquid expanding between the closed valves. Okay? They're spring-loaded, self-resetting valves, but what happens is if the piping between your home and the rig is closed from both ends, the liquid in the line is going to start warming and heating and pressurizing. These things keep it from exploding.
Right, and the valves will have that, and the actual hose line going from the tanker to the tank is going to have something very similar. It's going to have a pressure bleed pipe. All right, and you can really see this actually live in a transfer operation, right? You have a very small diameter pipe. It's connected somewhere around the belly near the piping, and its routes up to the top of the tank. This allows the operator to manually bleed off the pressure from the lines after the valving is closed, all right?
All right, let's talk about a little bit of markings here. Beyond the current, the whatever paint scheme and piping labels they have, you can be on the lookout for other required markings, such as a data plate or a spec plate. This will display some information about the vessel, including the DOT design code. In our case, it's the MC331.
The manufacturer of the tank and the serial number of that exact tank.
The tank material specifications.
The water capacity in pounds and gallons. Wait, why are we measuring this in water? We're not carrying water. Well, shouldn't they just measure it in propane or ammonia or whatever it is that they're moving?
The reason is because water tends to be a little more. I'm probably oversimplifying this, but water is a little more stable at the normal temperatures, and whatever the product is a little less stable. So it gets big and small. So it's a lot easier for us to measure the tank in water.
Right. It's like a standard unit of measurement.
It's a standard. It also is going to have on it the designed working pressure of the tank,
as well as the original test date.
The proper shipping name of the commodity.
Now, the proper name of the gas must appear on both sides and both ends of the tank.
The proper placards must be affixed to both sides and both ends of the tank. In this case, it's going to be flammable to UN 1075.
Okay, you want to hear me get all tongue twisted? Here's a little nice to know that's going to tongue twist me to death.
Go.
All right, there's going to be a set of initials on there. It's going to be either QT or NQT.
Okay.
And this designates, quenched and tempered or not quenched and tempered. All right. This really kind of relates to how the tank is built, and it's only relevant to what the product is inside the tank. For example, an NQT tank, right? They're allowed to carry all grades of LPG, whereas a Q tank, a quenched tank, all right, they are only allowed to carry LPG grades that have been deemed non-corrosive. So they're going to be displayed near the data plate.
Let's talk about a couple things just to remember. Propane is propane. And the rules that apply to your 20-pound propane tank, like we said before, it's the same thing for this MC331 trailer. The liquid, a full tank is never liquid full, right? The vessel may include a maximum level gauge, liquid level gauge, which is permanently mounted to the dip tube. And this device works the same way here as it would on your barbecue tank. When the liquid becomes to come out of here, it's like a spitter valve. The filling process should stop. The liquid coming from this device may indicate an overfull condition. So this is kind of going to give you that 80% outage in the case of propane. Whereas if you filled it in Denver and you drove it to Louisiana, which I don't know why you would do that, but anyway, it would substantially expand. Or am I backwards on that? I might be backwards on that. Either way, it's going to expand one way if you're driving one way.
At some point, it's going to do something.
This is going to prevent it from blowing up for you.
All right, so the SRV, it should have a weather cap over it. It's going to keep rain, snow, ice, and all that crap from the road from getting in there. However, crud does get inside, and this may cause the valve to stick open when the tank burps, and now, ta-da, you have a leak.
Right. And now you may see on the top of these things hooks or loops on the top of the tank. They are not for lifting. They're not for lifting the tank when it's loaded. So we all know this. The DOT 406, 407, actually all the tanks, with the exception of this one, is not able to be turned upright when it's full. This is one of those tanks that I would have really very little reservations about flipping this thing full.
Yeah, no, it's a heavy duty bad boy.
Yeah,
it can take.
Very sturdy. It can be manipulated back on its wheel full with the proper lifting equipment. But those little holders, those little eye bolts are not for that. So I'd like to just finish it up with thank you, George Beatty, for helping us design this this episode, and we'll see you.
Have a good night. Well, that wraps up another episode of the Hazmat Guys.
You can find us on Facebook, Twitter, and our YouTube channel at The Hazmat Guys. And take a moment to call our comment hotline at 843-628-1484.
We are always looking forward to your feedback about information or interesting incidents that you are part of. So send us a note at feedback@thehazmatguys.com.
And remember, guys, don't just get on the job. Get into the job.